Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the DoubleClutch.ca podcast. I'm your host, Nick, managing editor of this fine establishment, and I'm joined in studio by our usual crew, Nathan Leipzig. This week we got Rush in the studio as well, and a special guest, Jeff Wilson. So Jeff, last time you were on the podcast was about a couple months ago at Cobble Beach.
Right.
And things have changed since then.
Yes, in terms of yet another silly decision on my part, if that's what you're talking about, yeah. I seem to have an increasingly bad habit of chasing down vehicles that really aren't the vehicle that I should be buying and buying them.
You are your own worst enemy. You know that.
It's absolutely true.
We all are, though.
I was going to say, but, like, what should you be buying? Like, the vehicle that you bought made you happy, right? Sort of.
Define happy.
Yeah, that's the jury's still out on that one, I think. But there are glimmers of hope, I think it is.
Yeah.
So.
It drives exceptionally well.
It's also cool.
Okay, well, let's maybe back up a little bit.
Beans
Okay,
yeah.
so it wasn't at all on my radar, but I ended up buying a 1986 Toyota MR2. And the upside is that the few times that I have gotten to drive it, it's generated a lot of positive reaction from people of all walks of life. So that's really cool. And, you know, when I went after it, it was because I wanted something that was completely different from everything we seem to review these days, which by and large ends up being rather anodyne and sterile. And, you know, even the most visceral cars these days tend to be a little more...
They're pretty isolated. Like it's not
exactly.
like the most visceral shit you can buy these days has got nothing on. I shouldn't say got nothing, but like doesn't have anywhere close to the same level of communication as a mid-'80s entry-level sports car.
Right. And this thing, without any sort of power locks, power windows, or even power steering, is pretty analog.
Or power in general.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, and that's a whole other side topic. I've been reading about people just going on and on about the 4AGE engine and how it's the greatest thing. Like, I have not seen so much unwarranted praise for an engine since people started going on about the S2000. But anyway, that's a whole other separate topic.
The head gaskets are fantastic. And
Wait, did we actually...
Shots fired.
Ooh.
Wait, we actually... Did we actually introduce the car Jeff bought?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's an 86
okay.
MR2. And just, I'll try to make the story as quick as possible, but based here in...
The story's the best part.
Ontario, I found the thing in kind of a rural part of Nova Scotia, and it was one of those deals that seemed to be like a sure bet. So it was never meant to be a long-term, I've always lusted after an MR2. It was hey, this could be fun for a little while. And
you found it and you thought it was neat.
Right, and I can enjoy it and then probably not lose any money off it, or maybe even make money off of selling it in several months or a year or two, or whenever I've kind of enjoyed it.
Knowing you, it's probably more like several weeks.
Yeah, I do have a bad habit of that. So figured out a way to basically go down there, check it out. I'd already kind of, in my mind, bought the damn thing anyway. It is a two-owner car. The guy that I bought it off of had purchased it from the folks that bought it, and the guy that he bought it for his wife. He was a professor at some university down there. Bought it for his wife's 50th birthday. She had it for the first 25 years. Yeah. And, basically as somebody in her mid-70s was then too old to actually still enjoy it properly. And so the guy that I bought it off of had it for the last dozen years. And he's now at the point where he's retiring and just wasn't using it very much. So it's been, kind of two mature owners, we'll say. And they've both loved it, but it was never driven as like a high-performance vehicle for them. It was just sort of a casual toy.
This actually explains a lot about what happened to it.
Oh, yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So I saw it, and it let's say it's well patinaed. So the paint, the good old single-stage paint is so faded and worn in some spots that you can see the white primer below it.
Okay, can I pause you there, Jeff? Because like I have like a soft spot for these like first generation AW11 MR2s. I love these cars. I've been looking for one for myself for years. You have the cleanest one I have ever seen by a mile. Like the cleanest original one I've ever seen by a mile.
Yeah, I think that was a really cool thing about it. Like it came with like this like vintage, in my mind, vintage 90s car bra thing on it, and it was like, oh, like okay, like it's a very like of the times. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
someone hasn't messed with it and, like, tried to update it and modernize it through the years.
Yeah.
Like, they've just kind of left it as, like, this cool time capsule of its era, right?
Exactly. And like the car that Jeff is describing sounds like a like pink pockmarked clear coat failed peeling
It's not.
piece of
Clear coat?
shit.
It's
and it's
not.
not. This car is
It's
red.
gorgeous.
It is still red. The only like paint fade that's very obvious is like around like the rear spoiler and like I think the front
The
apron
bumper, I think,
where it's
yeah.
like starting to just and it's not even like peeling, it's just kind of like faded down to the
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
But it's uniform, it still has clear. That car looks amazing.
But it's kind of a cool thing,
such
right? 'Cause
clean
it's
example.
original, right? Like,
yeah,
it's-
it's so original.
When someone says, like, oh, this car is original, never seen a paint, you know, like, never
Yeah.
seen a paint job, or, like, this is the car.
Yeah,
Like,
it's such like it's a shitty meme where people say like, well, the car's got some patina, and patina has become like a catch term for like the car's a fucking giant piece of shit.
Yeah.
And this is not that.
this
car.
is not that,
It's
yeah.
actually, honest to God, a very lovingly preserved like
Well,
classic Toyota.
and fair enough. And admittedly, that was part of the appeal when I first saw it. And in fact, like you can still, on the trunk lid, you can still see the remnants of the dealer sticker that's on there.
Oh,
so
that's
there's
cool.
no question that it is.
That's a nice touch.
It is
Yeah.
That's a
genuine
lovely
and,
touch.
and authentic of its if it's patina.
Yeah.
You know,
Actual
there-
patina.
Yeah. And, you know, like cleaning it out and digging through it, you know, I found the parking pass from Acadia University from the original owner. And,
Yeah.
you know, there was a whole stack of original Toyota dealership service records and stuff like that from the original owner that were still in it too. So,
That's awesome.
you know, the story all checks out. There's no accident history. There's no rust on it. I mean, as you guys have said, you've seen it up on the hoist. It's
That
extremely
thing's
clean and
immaculate.
straight. and
Was that
it's
your
really-
REM cassette I found in it, or the previous owner?
Yeah, no, that was my REM.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
That was
Nice.
an album released from the same year of production. I figured it was an appropriate
Attaboy,
choice
yeah.
there.
Very
Yeah,
good.
Nice.
yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, so you know, got it back. Was pretty excited about it because on the test drive, it was one of those things where, yeah, it has a lot of character of its era, of its age. You know, the suspension wallows like crazy, and you know, you've got these squishy marshmallow tires that really don't help the road feel very much. But you can tell that there's a lot of potential in there. I mean, it's this tiny little mid-engine car, and it's still a lot of fun. But what I really liked about it was, despite the original 112 horsepower engine in that thing, it really loves to rev, and that was kind of one of its main assets when that engine was new. It was sort of quasi-exotic as it revved out to almost 7,500 RPMs, which at the
Wow.
time was pretty
It was
good.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
also like in '86, 112 horsepower wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you can
No,
go out buy a
yeah.
brand new Mustang 5-liter with 140 horsepower.
Exactly.
Like, that's
Yeah.
the
Exactly,
thing, right?
yeah.
Like, this thing could boogie.
Yeah, and that's just it. So, despite such a low power output, it weighs whatever 2,300 pounds. It's not fast, but you can still easily keep up with traffic with the thing.
Yeah.
And the,
Well, I
the
think you
best
weren't,
part that
yeah.
I
Like
found. Sorry,
Yeah,
so
go
the
ahead.
best part that I found too is, I can come screaming, relatively speaking. The engine might be screaming, the speed not so much, but come into a corner quite hot and, downshift from fourth to third to second and not even apply the brakes really. It's just sort of, you don't really need to you don't need to be hard on the brakes because you're not going that
it's a
fast
momentum
anyway.
car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
exactly.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's like the beautiful nature of it, right? Because like you're talking about how nothing you review now kind of comes close to it, right? It's like having 112 horsepower, or when it was new, probably lost a few, but having that and having to make the most of it, it's an experience and it's an enjoyable one
Yeah.
at that, right? Like that's the whole point of it. It's you take it out and you can ring it out and you can have fun
Yeah.
with it in a way that you just
You kind of
can't really
can't.
do
And like
now,
you
right?
have to ring it out. Like that engine is dead below
Yeah.
$4,000.
That's
It's
the
not,
thing,
like,
like-
it's not like modern engines with like hybrid assist or turbocharged.
And we
where
talk
you have
about modern
a fat
engines.
mid-range, right? Like you have to kick this thing to get
Yeah.
anything out of it, and it's so satisfying when you do. I think that's where the 4AG mythology comes from.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an objectively like bomb-proof, super powerful like
no.
myth of a motor. It's just super characterful and
pleasant.
fun and sounds great. It has a
Yeah.
fantastic induction
Like
noise.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I just like I also had the privilege of playing with Jeff's car, and it's so good. Like it's really good. It's
Yeah.
like the steering is among the best I've ever experienced in a car. The shifter is like almost typical vintage car, like kind of rubbery, kind of long, but not nearly as bad as 90% of other cars from the era. It's responsive. It's tight. It's light. It's not wallowy as other cars from the era. I say this as a guy who dailies a car made in 1996 as well. it's just so satisfying and connected and fun, and it makes the right noises, and it makes them at the right volume, and it feels the right way. It's just such a satisfying little thing. It really is like kind of a Miata, but with a little more
Character.
a little more character, a little less objective excellence, and a little more personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your eternal optimism in that car has been the only reason I haven't just driven it off a cliff at this point, because it has not been without its problems, as you guys well know. I was anticipating when I got it that there were going to be, a couple of $1,000s that needed to go into some reconditioning and updates and things like that, which was the case. And then, after some delays in finding some parts here and there.
You mean you couldn't just go to Crappy Tire and get a head gasket for your 86 Toyota?
Well, I was thinking
head gasket. We're getting ahead of ourselves here because
I was just talking about like the rear
brake hoses or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was at the parking brake cables. We were looking for these things for ages, and I was like, where do we find them?
Yeah.
The one place that has them. It's like there's no choice. There's no. Oh, maybe I can get it from here. Maybe I can get them locally from here. It was we're going to.
Like the speedometer cables. Okay, we either get one like used from some guy in England, or get new ones that are way too long for a new MR2 and just
try and make them work.
Yeah. So once all that was sorted, came and picked it up and happily drove away and got perhaps 7 or 8 kilometers from,
That's what you want.
from the shop here.
Hold on.
And
can we pause for a second? I just want to touch on something. So I've only ever known other Canadians to measure driving distance in time, in units of time. How far away is so-and-so? It's 20 minutes down the road. What the fuck is a kilometer?
Sorry, I got maybe 9 or 10 minutes away.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden noticed that the big transport trucks ahead of me on the highway were just, you could really smell the diesel, like the oil burning from the diesels. Until I then realized it was actually the blue cloud of smoke that was emitting from the back of the car that it was me that was making all the burning oil smell. So quickly pulled off, and the car got towed back to the shop, and we discovered there that it was
a blown head gasket.
The most exploded head gasket on Earth.
I think I've met, in unison, everyone inside the shop when the head got lifted off the engine was just
wow.
Yeah. How did that happen?
Yeah. Hey, come look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and to your earlier point there, Nathan, I think, given that this car has probably spent the last 37 years tootling around town and never even seeing 100, let alone whatever 120
just being
on the highway.
Baby super gently,
Any semblance of red line.
Yeah.
And then Jeff got his hands on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You just had to ring it out.
Yeah.
You just had to treat it like a car is.
Hey, but now it's sorted.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, we think
it runs good.
Where's some wood?
Yeah.
There we go.
It runs real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just it. So, I think in terms of now we can truly enjoy you can rev it out, and the shifts are really cool, and everything kind of works that way.
That car. Honestly, when I was tooling around, and if Jeff's kind of thinking about selling it, maybe should I? Should I? Do you think I should? I don't know. It's dumb, but
Nathan also says about every third car that comes around.
I just want to.
Yeah, you're just as bad as Jeff.
Okay, what I really want to do is open a foster home for just lost cars, just esoteric shit boxes that nobody wants, and
Which will probably be all my leftovers. And you wanted the M Roadster I got rid of before too, right?
Oh, I love that car.
I my
God,
God, I wouldn't call that a
shit
shitbox though.
No. That was a
good
great
car.
That was a very good car. After I fixed it, it was a very good car.
Yeah.
The first time I brought that thing home, it leaked a lot.
The M Roadster?
Yeah.
Leaked what?
Water. Onto me.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant the engine was leaking. That thing never left any spots in my garage.
No, it's a BMW engine. They don't leak. They never do. But
Never.
Don't laugh. But yeah, I drove it home on a rainy night, and I was soaked by the time I got home.
Well, that was your first mistake.
I had the top up.
Yeah, convertibles.
But yeah, anyway, fix that. Car's a treat. I love that thing. For the
was a
little
great car.
while I had it. Oh God, it was such a gem.
Yeah. So anyway, aside from the only real problem I'm having now is the previously repaired speedometer cable.
No, the cable's fine.
Oh, okay.
Speedometer is not broken. Yes.
Well, yeah. So driving along, and all of a sudden, horrible noises started coming from the general area of the speedometer there, and
this was after you spent a ton of cash fixing the
correct
head gaskets.
Yes.
He spent a ton of cash first, left for about 10 minutes, came back and spent
more,
a lot more money.
Yeah.
And then left again, and now he needs to spend some more money.
That's right. Yeah. So then,
but not a lot more. Like this is an easy fix.
Yeah, maybe only a couple $1,000.
That's fine.
got to watch that speedometer like bouncing between 160 and 180 as I was apparently going around corners. My God,
that's
the fastest
fast.
MR2 ever, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And then it ended up wrapping around and pinning itself below the 0 mark and kind of just bounced off that for a little while until the noise got worse and worse and worse, and then the needle literally popped off its base, and now it just resides at the bottom of the instrument cluster there. So I'm in the situation where if I ever get pulled over now, sir, do you know how fast you were going? I can genuinely say
I was parked.
do not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So aside from that, though, it seems to be, knock on wood, running very well now, and it does have a lot of character, and it is a cool car of its era and everything, and we'll see how long I keep it.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it.
I like that car a lot.
Should we take bets
On how long I'll have it?
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah, everything's for sale. If you need a kidney, let me know.
Yeah.
Everything's
Cool.
for sale.
Cool. What have you been driving this week?
This week, I am driving a Honda Accord Hybrid, which got me thinking a lot about what the ideal commuter car is. And because for a while there, I was thinking it's really, really, really good at that.
It seems to tick all the boxes.
It's very good at that.
It's reasonably attractive, has a lovely interior, and a fairly efficient powertrain. What more could you possibly want?
It's also huge, is the thing, right?
Yeah,
the Accord has gotten to be a big-ass car.
Yeah.
Like,
It is.
Yeah.
And it rides nice, and it's got
Yeah.
lots of features and comfort, and you're right, it looks good and all that sort of thing. And it's averaging now, with a mix of highway and city driving, of low 6s liters per 100. So if you want to recalculate that into hogsheads per whatever, you do that, Nathan, but I have
Into
no
American
idea.
freedom units, yeah.
Yeah. But, the old 2019 Jetta that I used to have, with its gas engine and no hybrid technology or anything like that, and a stick shift, was doing better than that. And so it kind of got me thinking, is this really the best commuter car that's out there? So, it's a nice car, but it's not the best one.
I don't mean to undermine, but I also had that Accord. And I saw like 5.5 liters per 100.
Someone has a letter. Oh, so here's the question: how much highway driving have you been doing with the?
This is
Accord?
the thing, because that car really favors city.
Yeah.
That Jetta will
Hybrids in
devour
general,
highway
yeah.
mileage like nothing. But
Hybrids in general prefer city over highway driving.
For sure.
But
for sure.
in mixed use, I think that Accord will end up doing better, and it's also approximately 5 times the size of a Jetta, which is not a small car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about 5 times, but yeah, I get you.
Approximately
Yeah,
five.
yeah.
It's approximately 5 minutes longer to walk around.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes. Now I get it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's good. I mean, the other thing too is if you're really after efficiency and kind of just cruising along, then a Prius Prime, which is basically the same price as this thing, if you can find one, is more efficient. You can probably get away with most days on pure electric, and you get the green plate, which means you can
use the carpool
Carpool
lane. That's the
lane.
big thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I didn't think about that until you just reminded me of it. Yeah, that Accord. So like, it's the red one, right?
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. This is how we talk about cars in
Yeah.
the business, guys. Like, you have the red one or the silver one? Okay, so the red one.
Yeah.
The car's like 50 grand ish.
Yeah.
If I remember served 52.
It's not
I
cheap.
think.
It's quite a bit of money.
That's not an not insignificant sum of money. Granted, it's a not insignificant sum of car either. The Accord has gotten to be large, and it drives very well, and it's very nice. I am not knocking the Accord, but like that's a price tag, and yeah, you're into Prius Prime territory at that point, or not far from it. What is a Prius Prime worth?
It's just under 50. Sidebar: I was also floored when I found out that the CR-V hybrid also touches 50, if not more.
Yikes. Although, I was going to say, so would a RAV4 hybrid or the Prime?
No, the Prime.
The Prime starts at
Prime's-
52.
Yeah. So
we were all talking about this a few weeks ago. The Prime starts at 52.
Yeah.
a Prime with like the things you want is like 58.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, right.
But, like, at what point are you better off going for like the base 1.5T? Like, it'll take a long time to amortize those fuel savings into like
Yeah,
something.
It's not like the 1.5 is thirsty. Like
No,
that
it's
car
really
is-
not.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, because
too.
like
Right.
you. So I'm looking at Rush. There's no camera here. I'm looking at Rush. Rush had the silver one.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
white. I'll have you know, it was white.
It's metallic white, so it's basically silver.
Yeah, but I didn't really. I don't know if I really liked the Accord with that 1.5.
I thought you said you liked it.
It was okay.
Like it's kind of anonymous, but like it's
okay,
it's,
that's
it's,
the
it's a
thing.
good commuter.
I think it was a good car. It was just
it was and car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what kind of gasoline usage were you seeing with that?
I can't remember. It was pretty
recall?
not that great. It was like 8,
Really?
7 or 8.
Okay.
But also like
You also sit in traffic a ton.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think that really killed it. And I don't know. I can't say that I didn't mind the 1.5. It had enough power for what that thing needed. Like it again, it's a commuter car. Like what
Yeah.
do you
Yep.
really need, right? Like
Yep.
Yeah.
you're not autocrossing this thing on the weekends. So like yeah, I mean you could, but like what I'm getting at is
It's a
like,
good chassis, yeah.
yeah. It is a good chassis.
Actually, very good
Yeah.
chassis. Like,
Yeah.
like would Jeff, would you not agree with that? Like,
I would,
excellent
yeah,
chassis.
yeah.
Even the previous one had an excellent chassis. It was very true. Very.
The previous
very-
one
very
was like
communicative.
shockingly excellent.
Yeah.
Like I was floored by how good that car was.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven the 2.0T with a stick?
Not with a stick,
What?
no.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
No,
That,
yeah.
well, it wasn't phenomenal, but it was still. It,
Phenomenal.
It-
You just walked
no,
out.
no, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, the one I
I'm
had
taking
was
that
like
back.
it was like deck, so like loaded touring
Yeah.
limited with like all the nice shit and the 10
Full
speed.
jam.
And like that thing was nearly as fast as the EcoBlast Mustang I had the same week.
Wow.
Eco-
Actually, like
Blast.
shockingly good,
It's
and it
EcoBeast.
handled better.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. That thing was so good.
Yeah. Honda knows that.
For anyone
stuff,
from
though.
Ford listening, that EcoBoost Mustang was one of my favorite press cars that year. I love that thing. But the Accord I had before was actually so good. I'm actually not lying. I love that Mustang. So it
But
was
it got beat up by the Accord, yeah.
well, the Accord was like just super because I wasn't expecting the Accord to be like half
That
as good as
good,
it
yeah.
was. It
Yeah.
was like shockingly, bewilderingly excellent. Whereas like this stupid Mustang. So like 3 weeks before, I had a Mustang GT, which did Mustang GT things, and it was loud, and angry,
Wasn't it like
and
quadruple white?
it was like the Vanilla Ice package.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one I had that
White,
one too.
yeah.
You have that one, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So 3 weeks after that, I had it was a Mustang convertible with the EcoBoost high performance package. So basically a Focus RS engine, but with a 6-speed. And it was a
Ooh.
convertible. And I had it for like an extended time. It was like almost 2 weeks. I
Oh, wow.
adored that thing. It drove like a fat Miata. It was great.
That's a good way of describing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Miatas are really good. It's not a Miata, but it's a big Miata. It has like four-cylinder turbo shove, and it made
Whoosh noises.
And it was super weird because it made like Focus RS noises. So it was like the big with like all the pops and crackles and like stupid ricer shit
Yeah, we got to hear the pops and crackles though.
in a Mustang.
Huh.
I'm not doing it again.
But isn't that just such a disconnect? Like don't
was-
you drive it? I mean, if you had actually bought that car, don't you think you'd be sitting there going,
Oh, I don't think I'd ever buy one for that exact reason because it was such a broken cognitive disconnect. It doesn't sound like a
Right.
Mustang. I
Exactly.
get into a Mustang
Yeah.
and it sounds like a Focus RS and
Yeah.
like aggressively like a Focus RS and makes all the Focus RS ricer hot boy noises. But it was fast. It sounded in its own universe, separate from everything else. It sounded pretty cool. And the car handled great. I spent a lot of time sideways in that car. It handled fucking excellent. It was so good. I
Yeah.
love that car. And it was very accessible in the way that the GT with the bad 10-speed wasn't.
Interesting assessment.
I love that thing. It was so good. It was like my biggest guilty
Maybe
pleasure
Nathan just
ever.
likes bad cars.
yeah,
I mean-
I'm beginning to think that might be the reality, that the judgment is a bit skewed here.
Are you a glutton
perhaps.
for punishment by any chance, Nathan?
Have you seen my taste in cars?
Yes.
Like
It's
personal
bad.
cars.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so
They're so bad. Sometimes I forget you own them. Like I think I blanked them out of my memory. Like
Do you
I think
remember-
before we started this podcast, it was like we're like, oh yeah, I had a Jaguar, and I forgot to mention it, and I was like, you don't own a Jaguar, and I was like,
Wait
oh my
a minute.
god, you do.
Dude, I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Like I rarely actually think about the cars that you own because
Yeah.
well, one, you're always in press cars, but two, it's like you own one really cool car, which is the 535, which I adore.
yeah, that's a good one.
But then when
That's
you have
lovely.
the Beetle, which is your leave behind, which is just like,
I love that car.
okay, but does it keep you warm?
After a while.
Yeah. So even daily driver duties of like keep me warm, dry, and get me to where I need to go. It does 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
And then okay, hang on, what else? We got the Jaguar, which I've never seen running well.
I've seen it once.
I've driven it to the office like several times. Nick drove it.
I've seen it.
Nick,
I've
did you like
seen
it?
and driven it once.
How did you like it?
It was good for what it was. For like a
That's such a
mid-
like. Oh
late
yeah, it's
nineties
good for what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cop-out response.
I think I drove that before I knew you well, and I didn't know how to tell you that I didn't like it.
I wouldn't take it away from you. I know that car is like not wonderful on
It
first
looks cool.
blush.
It
It
looks
looks
cool.
sick, but when you like are just putting around,
It has
feels
presence.
It feels wooden and rickety and like numb and kind of bad. I know this.
Okay,
I'm well aware
Being
of this.
Canadian, you've been to Canada's Wonderland, yeah? That car is the mind buster of cars. Like,
Okay, dude, actually, 100%. I've been saying this for years. I'm so used to driving like BMWs and Benzes that are like steel roller coasters. The
Yes.
Dragon Buster.
Yeah.
Dragon Buster?
Dragon
Dragon
Flyer.
Flyer. Thank you. Dragon Flyer, right? Where like they're slick and they're fast.
Oh,
And like they're kind of perfect.
Yeah.
And then you get into the Jag and it's like the same idea but rickety as fuck.
the mighty Canadian mind buster.
But yo, what's the most fun roller coaster there?
I don't know, you get like getting abused on the roller coaster? Go
Yes,
on the mind buster.
it's the damn Mind Buster. It's sick.
You know what? I see it, and you still enjoy them.
Yeah,
So, okay, I get it.
yeah.
But your taste in cars is definitely different sometimes.
100%.
Although we both agree that certain manufacturers make very good cars. This one particular one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely one particular one.
Do I get to know too? Or?
It's BMW.
Oh,
Yeah, just
yeah.
make the best cars
Yeah.
ever.
that's
I think we're having like
three of us will agree with that.
we
Anyway.
were having this like
Okay.
talk in the office today. We're just
we
sitting
were.
and we're like, oh my god, why does BMW make the best cars ever? This is just it's
no,
so
it was-
upsetting.
It was like almost an
But
argument
like,
Nick and I were
no,
having.
no,
Like, yeah.
Look at what we have this week. So this week we also have I'm in the 2024 Cayenne base Cayenne Coupe, and Nathan's got the X7 M60i. And
Damn, that X7's nice.
initially,
It's so nice. I didn't tell you I drove that Cayenne. I really liked it.
The Cayenne's actually very
Let's
nice.
not cut Nick off.
Okay,
Nick,
sorry.
please
Yeah.
continue.
so like, but like the thing is, they're ostensibly two very different SUVs, and yet for the price,
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, even though they're kind of different, when you're shopping around, price is a huge factor, and it's like when they're that close
Yeah.
in price, like you're gonna be cross shopping.
so
Yeah.
so if the Cayenne starts at 95-ish, and naturally it's loaded up with about $40,000 worth of options.
You can't even
bringing
get
it to-
$40,000 worth of options on my BMW.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But coming out of the X7, I was floored. I was floored at a 3-row SUV being as engaging and as tossable as
It is the best driving 3-row
yeah.
by a
Yeah.
mile.
Let's just acknowledge the
Like,
fact that Nick used tossable and 3-row SUV
In the same sentence, yeah.
Right.
Like only BMW.
Yeah, it's like bewilderingly
I'm
excellent.
sorry. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry to
It's
fanboy
so
out,
good.
but they're just so
It's so
excellent.
good. There's a ridiculous, stupid KLAR platform. It sounds like a villain. KLAR's at it again. Damn it! But it's so good.
it's interesting because like I shit on M cars all the time,
Yeah.
but
You own
I-
one, don't you?
That's
Yeah,
besides
that's
the
besides
point.
the point.
modern M cars.
Fair.
I shit on modern M cars all the time because they're a shadow of what they used to be. Blah 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 blah. But I don't get the same impression with their SUVs.
But I think that's what they've done. See, that's the problem. Like,
They watered down M.
yes, and like they used to make a couple of really great M cars that were like Halo cars. It's like, hey, if you want the best of what we got, here's
Yeah.
that. But
M3,
Yeah.
M5. That's it. We're done.
that's it. And they've gone far away from that in the sense that everything's got an M badge on it, and everything is. Also, you know, I think Jeff was talking about this earlier. It's like modern cars aren't the same as old cars
Yeah.
because everything's got 500 horsepower now. Everything's
Yep.
fast. Everything's whatever. But it's
And
like
numb.
that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
But when you can make an SUV feel fun, I think that still shows
That's
you like
worth
the
something.
magic of
Yeah.
the M, right? Like that is still
That's
something.
the thing. Like
yeah.
so, like this M60i and the M60 trim has kind of replaced like just the M's, what the M level used to be in most of BMW's cars, and it's fast, comfortable. Like sorry, ridiculously fast and comfortable.
Yeah.
and like it handles well. It's dynamic. They drive great. And
Yeah.
then the M competition is reserved for what like just the regular M's used to be,
Yep.
and they genuinely feel special. Rush, you and
Yep.
I were out in the X5M competition a couple weeks ago,
Oh my god.
and that thing was ridiculous. No SUV, nothing that big has any right to handle nearly as well as that thing does, and not only handle well, like you throw enough tire, mechanical grip at anything, and it'll turn good.
Of course.
This thing feels good while it's turning really
Yeah,
good,
well,
and
that's
it's
the thing.
also bewilderingly
I helped
fast.
Nick pick it up.
Oh, what?
I helped Nathan pick it up from BMW, and I was in front of him, and I was like, "Oh, like let's see how this thing goes around a corner," and I'm in this thing feeling it rotate, and he's behind me watching it rotate. He's like, "Yo, what was that?" I'm like, "Yeah,
It's an
this thing
SUV
is
that can rotate.
this thing is wild."
So my counter to that is the price difference between these full-blown M competition vehicles and the model just below it. So what's that? The X5 M50?
No, actually, it's at the M60 now. So
Right
it goes
now, yeah,
M40,
M60,
M60,
okay.
and then the
So
Coupe.
the difference between them in terms of cost is usually pretty significant,
Like
right?
30, 40 grand, yeah.
Right. And the appreciable difference for, let's call it 99% of the buyers that are out there is the only reason they're
Yeah.
stepping it up is because they need to have the bragging rights of the top tier version.
100%. And I brought this
Yeah,
up when I
definitely
had
agree.
it 2 weeks ago. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I would ever buy one. Like the I don't know, like I was saying, who gets into an M60 with like 5.5
Yeah.
million horsepower
Yep.
and goes,
I need more. Yeah.
I need more.
Yeah.
It's the same case with the MA competition as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we thought about this for a long time though, because like every single time we've gotten in a comp, it was like, "Oh, this is amazing! This is so cool that BMW makes this." But why the
Why?
heck do they
Yeah.
bother? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, who
And it's just
wants
because-
who wants to pay 30, 40 more for like an extra few tenths?
And you know what? I think that we're talking about watering down the M brand, and I think it's tough to say it, but it's like some cars just need to be made to say that BMW as a brand makes this car. Like, we can't be beat out by everyone else making whatever, because on paper, you know, even though the M60 version of it is better, it is the better buy to have. The
they
comp
still,
needs to
they
exist.
still have to have that
That's
flagship.
the
just to
problem.
say
It's
that.
unfortunate,
Yeah.
but they need to.
Yeah, but in their defense, it is a very good product. If you need an SUV to be
Fucking rotate.
that good,
Yeah.
If
They
you need
will
a
make it for
trackable
you.
SUV, you can buy one. You can go
Yeah.
out and buy one.
I mean, that's not to say the Cayenne Coupe isn't engaging enough for an SUV. First of all, I think of all the SUV coupes that are currently plaguing, no, that's not right. That's not the right word. Filling the market. The Cayenne Coupe arguably pulls off the look the best among the X6, GLE Coupe, Q8, and whatnot. It's also enjoyable to toss around. It's not fast by any means. It still has the 2.9 V6 in it, but by most other measures, it's actually pretty fun as well in its own right. Mind
I think
you,
it is very.
I'd still
nice.
go for the BMW.
Yeah, I think
I'd still go for an X5 or not an X6 because I still think those look like ass.
Agreed, yeah.
But I still think I'd go X5 over Cayenne Coupe. But again, that's not to say it's not without its merits.
no, the Cayenne is still a great product, but I just think that
Yeah.
for the price, because you're paying the premium for the Porsche badge and all the options that you need to get to make it feel the
Yeah.
same as the X5, you kind of miss out on a little bit of the fun factor that
Yeah.
you get from the M version of whatever you're going to get
Yeah.
from BMW, right? Like, yeah, the Porsche in some ways is a more premium product, and I think ownership experience and all that also comes into play there, right?
Yeah.
That's a whole different story. But the end of the day, like apples to apples, not apples to that's like apples to oranges when they're priced the same.
Yeah.
A lot of buyers may still be going for the BMW because you just get a little bit more, I think, personally.
Just as a bit of a side note in this, the difference between the base Cayenne and the Cayenne S that now gets its V8 again is significant. So I've driven both, and the S is appreciably better than the base model, and it just it all comes down to that engine for
I
sure.
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
The S is definitely it does a better job of feeling a little bit special versus like the base Cayenne is a great daily kind of driver truck,
Yeah.
kind of thing, but it doesn't really feel like a Porsche. Like
I got
Yeah.
the same sense out of the Panamera we had last year. Same powertrain as the
I think that has a lot to do with
the
it,
Platinum
right?
Edition, or whatever.
yeah,
Same 2.9 liter V6 as the Cayenne, and again, fabulous chassis, lovely interior, but just not fast.
just not all the way there. So like,
It doesn't feel special.
I've never been a fan of Porsche SUVs in general as a rule, and this is maybe just me like chugging the haterade. But today was the first time I drove a Cayenne. I took this Cayenne Coupe out for a drive, and like, I get it. That chassis
Yeah.
is shockingly excellent.
yeah.
Like bewildered. Like, and I say this as like a kind of unabashed BMW fanboy that's had all the big BMW SUVs this year. As good as those are, and I think they are a much better value proposition, that Cayenne has that extra like nth degree of like driver involvement and just
Yeah.
rightness.
Porsche knows some
yeah.
things, and that is what they know.
Yeah, like I don't love like the interior ergonomics leave a lot to be desired. Its
A little
value
bit, yeah.
proposition falls flat on its face when you actually measure it to anything else, but it does have the Porsche crest and it drives like a Porsche.
That's
Yeah, I'm still not used to the. So as a brief refresher for those listening, the 2024 Cayenne gets a mild refresh, I'd say.
It's definitely an
Because
updated
Jeff, you
interior.
were definitely on the event as well.
Yeah,
It's a mild
and
refresh
it's a very
for
like
24.
stark, minimalist, futuristic
Yeah.
interior, which I get why people like it. I
Yeah.
personally don't, but it's piano black for days. That's
That's the other
all
thing,
it
like,
is.
And
I-
there are still a fair bit of like ergonomic niggles that I can't really get used to. Like,
I think they're mistakes because, like, if you genuinely look at that, so like, okay, the old Cayenne, my father had owned a set 18
Yeah.
a base Cayenne, and like that thing was buttons galore, right? But
Yep.
that's the thing, every single button switch and dial you touched felt pretty premium. Like you click something and I was like, oh yeah, that feels nice. Like whatever, there's so many buttons, but it kind of is. It's kind of cool. Like it felt like a little like
It's like they understood haptics.
yeah, airplane, spaceshipy kind of thing. This one loses all of that, and then they've gone and put a lot of buttons in places that you just don't really expect them to be. Like,
yeah,
even the headlight switch is not a
Yep.
switch anymore. It's 4 buttons that they've placed kind of out of the way by your
It's
left
pretty
knee,
hidden.
and it's like, wait, why is this here? Like, this
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. And it's like,
like the engine start button and the shifter.
Yeah, they're both behind the steering
Yeah,
wheel.
but they're hidden by the steering
Yeah,
wheel.
you
Yeah,
see
that's what
them.
I'm saying. Yeah,
You
they're-
can't
Can't like unless you have gotten to know the truck well and like know where that switch is.
Yeah.
It's kind of out of the way. It's
Yep.
kind of something that you have to reach for. Why? Like you had it. So stop doing this. Go back. Yeah.
Well, the pre-refresh Cayenne, the current generation Cayenne pre-refresh, still had a traditional shifter.
That's the thing. Yeah. So but now they've gone and been like, okay, let's just use this thing that we're using for everything else. And that
Yeah.
maybe that's like Volkswagen Audi
Yeah, and like
influence.
I get the nub shifting.
Yeah.
Like in this modern era of like drive-by-wire electromagnetic
Don't put it there.
everything, like whatever, that's fine. Just don't put it there.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Sorry, catch me up. So it's been a while since I've driven the Cayenne. Where is the shifter then?
So you know where like the fake starter key is on the left side?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
on the exact same position on the right side.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so I was thinking
perfectly
like
obscured
with
by the steering wheel.
Right, with the
Yeah.
Taycan, I
Same
not
layout
a
as the
happy
Taycan,
fan
yeah.
of
It's
that.
the
Yeah,
same
okay.
shifter, just worse in position.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I can still see it in the Taycan though.
Yeah, no,
I can
that's what I
still see
mean.
the shifter.
That's what I mean, though. Like in the Taycan, it was okay, but this one is just. Why did you put it
Perfectly
there?
obscured.
Yeah.
And like in the short time that I had, it didn't work. Like the thing, I don't know. I've gotten used to getting into a press car and just tapping the start button and it fires up and
Getting used
putting
to getting
driving
in
to go
a
away.
BMW. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas with this, like you press it on, but it's not running. On, and it's off. On, and it's not running, and now it's
Yeah.
off. Okay, press and hold, and it fires. Okay.
I can't say I had that, but I definitely was like
I didn't experience
hunting.
that.
I was hunting for
Yeah.
the button, and also like I'm used to like Porsches. Like even when they don't have a physical key, they still have something that looks like a key,
Yes.
which for a while bothered me until I realized that I kind of like it.
Yep.
And now I'm kicking myself because I'm like, oh, why did they just put a button? And now there's a button. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, why didn't they just put this key back? Like, what have you done would have been wrong. But I don't know. Maybe there's some things about that interior that just feel a little backwards, and I think that's what really bugs me, especially for the price point. It's like ergonomics and things like that. That's something that should have been figured out way long ago. Personally, that's all I feel. I don't know.
Porsche's always had like slightly wonky ergo.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Always. I think it's just a tradition thing. Like
But
they have to.
I don't know if it's that or like for me, like when my father owned that Cayenne, it was like, oh, this feels like a really nice Tiguan that they just had to add extra things to. So they're like, oh my god, where do we put them? Stick it here.
Tiguan, not even Touareg.
Whatever, same
Jeez.
sausage, different size, I guess. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's also been my gripe with like Porsche products is like sometimes when it comes to like things like the Cayenne that are like very clearly, you know, okay, you can say that it's a Urus, but you can also say that it's a Touareg probably, or you know, a Q7. You know what I mean? Like it depends how you want to play it. But what I'm saying is they lose some of that the fit, like the special, like I don't know. You get in a car, you're like, oh, like this feels nice, this feels special.
Yeah.
And I know, when you get in an X7, it's like, well, what does this share a chassis with? A Cullinan?
It's just
Yeah.
But the X5 and the X6 are the exact same dashboard as both of those.
yeah.
Yeah, but you're not going to
And the
own an
same
X5 and an
powertrain.
X6 concurrently, but you might own a Touareg and then move up to a Cayenne and be like, oh, this is not that much better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
I don't know. See, with me, like the X7 feels like the X6 M60
yeah,
with like another foot behind it.
but that's the point.
Yeah.
And that's what BMWs have kind of always been.
Yeah, like they all like look and feel pretty samey, but that's not a bad thing.
No. But a Cayenne should not feel like a Touareg in any way. I don't think.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I think.
I don't know. Like,
Well, it's
don't get me
weird-
wrong. The Touareg's not a bad
Well,
car.
because Touareg was a holdover from when like that was from the Piek era when Touareg was when Volkswagen was reaching like way crazy
Yeah.
high in the market.
Yeah.
Right. And that Touareg was really, really,
Was an
really
amazing
good.
product.
course.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's very close to
But maybe they've
its
diluted the
contemporary.
brand.
Pardon me?
Like, maybe they've diluted that Porsche branding by overstepping the Volkswagen-ness of it. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
how I feel sometimes.
So for 24, Cayenne gets a new interior.
So how much of that is new? Like, because I'm not super like up on Cayennes to be honest.
So you
the
know
center
the
console is for sure new.
the,
Yeah.
the center console is like pretty much one big piano black haptic feedback panel, which is kind of shitty because
Not good.
you know it's a prime spot for like scratches and nicks and dust and whatnot. Because like Rush and I were talking about this earlier today in the office. My wife has a habit of tossing her purse over the center console and into
Yeah.
the passenger seat footwell. And
You could see this going.
cannot imagine the center console holding up to that.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's the thing. Like, sometimes I got lost in a bit of a, whatever. Like, if you have a car for a week and you review it, it's so easy to be like, oh, this is a great idea. Like, this like big flat panel. Oh, it looks great. Yada yada.
Has
But then
any
if
of us
you-
ever said a large panel of piano
I
black
know,
capacitive touch
just-
controls are a good idea?
Give me a second.
Ever
here.
at any
Give me
point.
a second. Here.
No, I don't want you to have that idea. Like, you're mischaracterizing us as being dumb because this idea is dumb. It looks slick, but it's ergonomically
But that's what I'm saying. You
disastrous.
could say objectively, it looks cool.
It does
but,
look swag.
Right, but when you own a car and you have to live with it for any amount of time longer than a week, it's immediately going to look like trash because, one, it's always going to be dusty. Two, it's always going to be full of fingerprints because you're touching it. And three, as soon as anything touches it that's not your finger, it's going to like scratch or mar.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the issue. It's like you've gone and made this sleek, futuristic thing that's going to look not sleek and terribly dated as soon as you live
Yeah.
with it. Like,
And that's the whole problem with like modern, like kind of futuristic
Mm-hmm.
kind of design. Is that like, yeah, it looks super futuristic right now, and
gonna
it'll,
age
it'll
terribly.
age itself out
Yeah.
horrifically.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
like
basi-
all these products have no shelf life whatsoever.
I know.
it's basically the same interior as the Taycan, the same dash layout basically, but from the dash down it's all Cayenne. It still has the two grab handles on the center console.
That's it. You can see the evolution of the interior, right? Like, 'cause,
Yeah.
like, so talking about this like 2017 Cayenne, like you can see like where they started with like a ton of buttons. They're like, okay, we got to simplify this because this is getting out of hand. And they're like, okay, why don't we just put some haptic buttons in it? That'll be great. And then now they've gone to like this. You got a cubby in the front, cup holders in the back, and then like this random cubby in the middle, or like this random touch panel in the middle. But the
Yeah.
problem is, it's also got buttons that are on it, like these little like what do you
Well,
call them?
climate control
Toggles.
toggle
Yeah.
switches, for the
Which immediately, if you throw a bag across the console, are probably going to break off. Like,
Probably.
you could just see how it's going to go so terribly, and you're like, how did they put this into production in a $100,000 SUV? I don't know.
yeah.
Like, how did that not get checked out at some point? Like,
Jeff, you drove like a Cayenne Coupe Turbo. Is it Cayenne GT? Is that what it's called?
The really fast one?
The Turbo GT, yeah.
Yeah, so you've gone to like check those out like in California and stuff. If I
That's
recall
right.
correctly. So what did you think of this thing?
Well, and in that spec,
spec,
it is
yeah.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And then that becomes the question
You
of,
have what, the hybrid, the e-hybrid?
No, we had the turbo.
no,
like the really good one.
yeah, like
The fastest one they got.
That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was the e-hybrid for some reason.
No.
That you're recently on.
Only the
No,
best
no,
for
no. I've driven the hybrid S, I guess it was, or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, not the really spicy hybrid, but the
Yeah.
Spicy hot.
lesser
Spicy enough.
hybrid.
Spicy
Yeah.
enough.
But yes, I did drive the, what is it now, Cayenne Turbo GT or GT Turbo,
It's Turbo GT. I think
top,
you got it.
yeah, the top spec gas powered
Gotcha.
monster.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
The one that holds the record for like fastest SUV around the
yeah.
ring, I think.
Oh,
Well, because
Yeah.
like the Urus came out, and then the Porsche's like,
no.
But
No,
and that's,
you can't have this. This is
But it's
ours.
the same truck.
that's
No,
the
no.
point with that thing
Yeah.
is it kind of
Not
makes
for
the
you.
Urus seem like a really poor decision then, unless you need to have the prancing bull there on the nose.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
yo,
like-
so many people
But who's
do.
buying an Urus?
The people that need to
Urus?
have the
Urus? How is that pronounced?
Uranus.
Urus?
yeah, exactly.
Urus?
Uranus.
Urus?
Urus.
Okay, but like, who's buying an Urus?
Someone that needs the badge.
Bingo.
Yeah.
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 I mean, they're kind of cool looking.
Like, they look sick. I'm not going to take that away. They actually look dope.
Yeah, like Lambo knows how to do Lambo things.
Yeah.
And be exciting. That's the
Yeah.
point.
But isn't it kind of like the scenario you were mentioning earlier, where it's sort of, well, the Touareg then was so close to what the Cayenne was that it kind of diminished the Cayenne. My point is, this Cayenne is so good that it diminishes the
No,
Urus.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
But
that's
the
the whole
Cayenne
point.
doesn't look like an Urus. If you want to flex and be a person who likes to flex,
Nice save.
Good
A
save.
flexor.
then you buy an Urus. If you want a really excellent, ridiculously fast vehicle that is
Yeah.
also an SUV for some reason.
I think for
Yep.
some reason that's like a different market because like
Yeah.
the Urus is like literally just like if you got money and you want to show it off all the time, you buy the
Urus.
truck.
You buy a yellow Urus.
Yes,
A yellow
but-
or a matte gray Urus.
exactly.
Yeah.
But if you
Lime
want
green.
to actually
Wow.
enjoy driving, I
An
don't know I don't
SUV.
know how to say this. Like if you want to have the
SUV coupe.
fastest SUV coupe around,
Yeah.
the Porsche Cayenne
I want
GT
the fastest
Turbo
vehicle
yeah.
I can buy without having to bend down to get into it.
yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely unbelievably sensational. I mean, for the same reasons that, I mean, you guys would assume, but also that you've already touched on, where the chassis in that thing is
It's
just
bewildering. It's,
it's
so good.
And of course, this being the top tier of their performance Cayennes,
Yeah.
everything is dialed in
Yeah.
Yeah,
to the nth degree.
It's really good. Like, yeah, so our Cayenne Coupe that we have this week is like
Pretty base.
pretty base,
It's the base
and
model.
it still
basically.
drives
Yeah. It's
really
base
good.
Cayenne.
So I can only imagine how much better
Right.
this Turbo GT is, and like with how I felt about the 911 GTS we had a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, like I felt that was kind of numb for the sports car that it is, but for an SUV, and it felt exactly the same. Holy shit, it's good.
Maybe that's what car manufacturers are doing because we just talked about how all of the cool fast cars are now kind of like boring, and all the SUVs are kind of cool.
Are kind of sick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What is happening to us?
Adulthood.
we've been drinking the Kool-Aid for too
Yeah,
long. I
that's
don't know.
it. Like they've just pushed these things on us for so long that now we're like, oh,
Okay, fine.
maybe they're cool. Yeah.
Have you noticed that when you get into like a car, you grunt?
Getting in and out of it? No,
Yeah.
man. How old are you? Ancient?
Yo, here's your question. Shut up.
Well, back to the, what's happened here? Is it that
Jeff would know.
Oh yeah, exactly. As the old guy here, yeah. The
Resident.
that's right. Yeah.
Resident octogenarian.
Are the
very
SUVs
nice.
just being polished and polished and polished and polished? All those resources
that's
are
where
being
the
put
R&D
into
is
it.
going.
I think
Whereas-
that's the thing. Like they've worked on them so hard that now they're like, oh my god, like this is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you drive any of the sportier cars now, even from the same manufacturers. Like, honestly, and again, it's probably no big secret that I'm also a fan of the BMWs, much like you guys.
Of course, yeah.
But the coupes and sedans these days have, at least in the full-blown M spec, they've been
Kind of falling off a little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
the
it's a
M3,
question of
M4
like, yo, why?
I
Yeah,
think
the
they just
M3,
thrown-
M4 are the only ones that I kind of go, okay, yeah, that's the better one to buy than the 340. But otherwise, like I'm,
Even then.
the X5, X6, M5, like all of that, I would happily just have the like the M550 or
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever's one down
Yeah.
from this hot.
Yeah,
from the hot
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Because the M550 is going to be the better one to live with, which is
Yeah.
what, like, that's the thing, like, old M5s, like,
You
You
can
would-
live with that.
you could live with them. It's like now it's just like the comp, or like the M5 comp or whatever, is just like tuned to 11 because it needs to be, because they have to beat out everyone else in the same market doing the same thing,
Yeah.
that they've just become a chore. Like, it's just too much. Like, just relax.
Well, in the M5 comp
But they
especially,
can't now.
I
They
know.
can't. They can't
That's the problem.
backpedal.
There's
Right,
no turning
no.
it.
Yeah.
the M5 comp was one of those things where, you know, the line I would make for some of these big, high-powered sedans before was it was kind of a, yeah, you gotta have a track to enjoy it. But like I've driven the M5 comp on a track, and it was a fairly small, tight track, and you still don't enjoy it
No.
because you can't even get midway
Yeah.
through second gear before you're already hammering on the brakes for the turn. So
Yeah, exactly.
you need a Nürburgring in order to really
Yeah.
properly
And it shows that's where those things were set up.
fair. Yeah.
To echo
Yeah.
my inner James Bay.
Terrible. What's the thing? Like, they should just set them up on the 401.
So hybrids that just idle and drive themselves because you're never actually moving anywhere,
BMWs do that.
and they do it really well.
Sponsored
We were
by
talking about this
BMW.
earlier. Someone made a crack that like we're like heavily BMW biased. We're all BMW fanboys. Like, and
No,
I
that's
said
great.
like, no, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
That they have the best engine, the best transmission, the best infotainment.
Yep.
Do
Arguably the absolute worst
do they
styling.
have the best engine though?
Relax,
Yes,
Janice.
100%.
You're not gonna win this.
100%. Okay, Nick, you and I agree 100%. Like, I adore that Lexus V8. I
Yeah.
adore that motor, but the B58 is objectively superior.
Even the S.
Like, we were talking
no,
about
what are
this a
they
couple
on?
weeks
I will
ago.
begrudgingly
When we were
agree.
talking about this a couple weeks ago, when we were talking about the cars, or whether we'd have, like,
Yes.
the CT4V Blackwing, the
Yeah.
IS500, an M340, or a C43, we all agree the M340i is the best car.
I know.
Even though you and I would drive home in an IS500.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that's the thing. Like, your car enthusiast brain's like, oh, I need to love the IS500 because, you know, V8 and, like, the natural, you know, sound of it and
No,
whatever.
no, not car enthusiast brain. Actually, very
No.
delicious.
Yeah. Actual brain.
Of course. But then which one would you want to live with day to day?
The IS500.
I don't know if I can agree with you there. I would take the
Yeah.
M340.
That car is delicious. Again, M340 technically superior in every way, 1,000,000%. But
Yeah,
like,
I'm with
the,
Nathan on
the
this one.
character and the
Have you
feel
seen
of the IS500
character as
just
in
knocks
the
it out.
crappy interior of the IS500?
It's not crappy.
Doesn't feel upmarket.
It's a little dated, but it's not crappy. It's nice materials.
Dated,
And
otherwise
also,
known as Lexus.
Also, I don't know if you met me. I'm actually 7 million years old, and I like the trackpad.
the trackpad's not that bad.
Really?
Not the one in the Acura though. That
No,
one's
no,
terrible.
no. Trackpad's stupid.
Oh, yeah.
That one where you gotta,
starts
like-
hour 2 of this podcast
Yeah.
going on to that. Yeah.
You gotta like kind of guess where you're pointing. Yeah. Anyways,
I like like the simple dashboard on the IS500. Like, I like that old dashboard design. I think it's great. It's reminiscent of the old Mercedes that it felt
2007
like.
called. They would like their dashboard back.
And it looks great and it works great. It's not huge and in your face.
Okay,
And
you know what? I don't think we're gonna agree here. They're both very good cars. The IS500 is honestly fantastic, but the M340, I think I would have a better time living with. That's all I'm saying.
I'm inclined to
Yeah,
agree.
exactly.
Again, no one's disagreeing that the 340 is probably a way better car. We got into this talking because that engine is a way better engine, like technically
Yeah.
far more superior engine.
But it's crazy. Like, how do you make a 6-cylinder turbo thing make, you know?
Because BMW is really good at straight sixes.
They've had a
They've
bit of practice on that.
They've been
A
making
little
them
bit.
for over
You could
100
argue
years.
that.
Like,
Really?
literally over 100 years. They were like, their first whole shtick was like, yo, it's a plane motor that can actually climb without stalling. That was the whole thing with them.
Huh. I didn't know that.
And then they put it in a car.
And magic happened.
Yeah.
And the rest was history. Nathan, what do we got in the garage next week?
You got the schedule open, dude. I have no idea.
As
We were supposed to have a Mustang GT that I was super
We
looking
were.
forward to, and
Yeah.
that has been canceled
It has
because
been
it
parked
is
for
winter.
winter
in Canada, and that's a thing that's been known to occur.
Oh, good God.
I'll tell you what I've got.
Yeah, Jeff, what do you got going
Jeff?
on?
What do you got next
Integra
week?
Type S next week.
Oh,
Very
well,
good.
well, that's infinitely cooler than our Corolla Cross Hybrid XSE, which Ben has.
Woo.
I'm in the Chevy Trax RS, which I'm kind of looking
That's not
forward
bad,
to.
man.
That actually, like, that looks kind of cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, as far as automotive glow-ups go, I'd probably put that in the same league as the Prius.
I definitely have to
Good
agree
call.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. And John's in the Kona N-Line Ultimate.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
new Kona looks good.
it's
So you're
It's-
going from baller SUVs this week to
to stuff
Game.
people actually buy.
To honest SUVs next week.
Honest
right.
SUVs. There's
Yeah.
the
real
Yeah.
cars for real
Stuff
people.
people actually buy.
There we go.
Yes.
Cool.
We
Jeff?
are very much in touch with reality. And sorry, Nick, you were saying a thing before I interrupted very rudely.
Yes, I was. Jeff, why don't you tell our beloved listeners where to find you?
Most often, my stuff appears on autotrader.ca, also Auto Guide, and occasionally, when I'm really lucky, I get to write for Double Clutch too.
Oh, boy. And for those of you who just can't get enough of our podcast, you can follow along our adventures at doubleclutch.ca on socials. Jeff, thank you for joining us this week.
Thanks for having me.
Rush, it's been a slice having you guys in studio.
Hell yeah, brother.
Goodbye.